77.09% accuracy in predicting the Oscars, which is alright, pretty good. One might even say moderately impressive. This statistic comes from the past 12 years of my Oscar balloting, over which I guessed 139 correct winners from 179 guesses. This included the high of 93.75% in 2022 and a low of 64.29% in 2015. Sharing my ballot allowed multiple friends win their Oscar ballots at work, granting them such prizes such as gift cards, and that's it. This year, I'm sharing my 2025 Oscar ballot with all of you. I'm not advising you to gamble with this info. I do not use any other advanced techniques for these predictions other than going with my gut and having watched a lot of these. If you are only here for the ballot, go to here. For the rest, I'm going to go one by one. So here we go.
Best Supporting Actor.
To start off, I would like to introduce my ballot system. Here are the nominees, and I usually award 4 different spots for who shouldn't win for the nominee who I think does not deserve the award, who got snubbed for the nominee who the Academy should have nominated or awarded with the Gold Dude, who should win for the nominee who would get the award if it was up to me, and who will win for the nominee who my crystal ball tells me will get it. These can be empty as is the case here, as I don't have anyone for who shouldn't win. As for who got snubbed, here I put the entire remaining cast of Anora, including the Vanya's dad, who I'm pretty sure does not have any dialogue except for bursts of laughter. Karen Karagulian, shown by Kermeister, is the standout here. This of course means I put Yura Borisov as should win. He's a fantastic presence on the screen, shaping a character through just his body. He does a lot with very few lines. He's also proof that you can get an effective performance out of someone performing in a foreign language. But who had a lot of lines was Kieran Culkin, for what is effectively a co-lead performance in A Real Pain. He's the obvious standout as the movie is effectively about him, and he also deserves their award. He should have been in the lead category, but that's frequently the case with this category.
Best Supporting Actress.
Who gets snubbed I give to Margaret Qualley for The Substance. She was the perfect nightmare Barbie, even if we saw more of her butt than her face. For who shouldn't win, I am putting Ariana Grande for playing We Have a Malfoy at Home. Giving an Oscar for singing well to a professional singer just feels dumb. For who should win, I'm actually struggling, as this is not a very strong category this year. In the end, I would give it to Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Giving an award to yet another portrayal of a suffering woman might be a bit tired, but there was something arresting in that performance. The award will actually go to Zoe Saldana for successfully managing to abandon the sinking ship that is Emilia Perez. And good for her. Good for her.
Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Who shouldn't win is obviously Emilia Perez, because what makeup? In snubs, I would put Chris Hemsworth's fake nose from Furiosa. Furiosa actually won this year 9 years ago, so it seems a bit weird that Furiosa got overlooked this year. But the award should and will go to The Substance.
People just love that.
Bless them for going this practical and this over the top.
Best Production Design.
Here, The Substance gets the snub, just for that orange corridor. It was the ballest piece of production design I've seen all year. It should have definitely taken the place of Wicked, which looks like Universal in Orlando. Everything just looks like painted concrete mixed with CGI textures that someone set on low. The Oscar should go to Dune Part 2, even if there aren't that many interiors in Part 2. And yet, I think the effort to sort of dress the desert warrants the award. It won't get it though. Wicked will get it.
Best Costume Design.
Now I'm going with an unusual pick for the snub, as I'm going with Nickel Boys, as it had the most arresting costume design moment I noticed all year, when one of the characters is looking at another woman's shoes. There was something special in the gaze of the camera, talking with the choice of the wardrobe. It really just struck me. Who Shouldn't Win goes to Wicked. The fakeness of the movie extends to the overdone costumes. It all looks like it's ready to sell to little girls at a theme park gift shop. I would give the award to Conclave, as I admire how geometric the costumes looked on camera. The win will go to Wicked, however, as it ticks too many boxes. It is both a musical and a fantasy.
Best Documentary Short Film.
The Only Girl in the Orchestra is a 35-minute Netflix short doc that is 35 minutes too long. I just found the very topic quite boring, and the whole film just feels so paltry and insignificant compared to the other nominees. For Who Got Snubbed, I don't put anything as I find it weird to even comprehend of what actually could qualify in this category. Like, would a YouTube video qualify? Can a Wendover Productions video qualify? And for example, the Oscars should and will go to The Incident, which you can actually watch on YouTube. It's shocking with its minimalism, frightening with its intentional silence, all because it knows what it shows is already overwhelming enough.
Best Documentary Feature Film.
Now, I haven't seen a lot of documentaries this year, so this easily goes to Alien on Stage. It's not a great documentary as a documentary. It's not as artfully shot as some of the other nominees here, but it's just a load of fun and a good time. And I wish documentaries that aren't about war and famine would get more of a look. Please, please, please go see it. It's just a joy to watch. For Who Shouldn't Win, I would put Sugarcane. And I know this is about a noteworthy topic, and it's important to portray the lives of people involved with respect and humanity. But this documentary just lost me at some point. I did not finish it as it seemed to be more interested in portraying the everyday and losing track of the purpose. It just should have been a short doc. The award should and will go to No Other Land. Last year was Ukraine's year, so it makes sense that this year will go to Gaza. And with everything that's happening in this world, the next year's winner might be about somewhere just near where you live.
Best Animated Short Film.
I would not really want the award to go to Yuck, mostly because it confuses me about France even more. There's so much kissing in this country, like two for hello, two for goodbye, and all just spreading germs. Even COVID did not stop them. And now this little short animation confuses me even more by suddenly implying that the kissing in this country is actually secretly always romantic in nature. I mean, yuck. For the snubs, I have the same problem as with the short docs, so I'm putting Umami from YouTube. Every video by him is just a wonder. I heard he did actually present some stuff at festivals, so he should be technically eligible, and yet he does not appear. But if not Umami, then I would give it to Beautiful Men. Even the amount of clay penises on screen is kinda gratuitous. An equally deserving short is Wander to Wander, which I actually think will get the award. It is much darker than the other nominees and a little bit divisive, with my girlfriend actually saying she dislikes it a lot. But for my part, it's pretty good.
Best Live Action Short Film.
This one is a pretty strong year, and even though out of all of them, Anuja was the most formulaic and preachy, I still liked it enough to avoid going into the red category. I also have no snubs, as, who watches short films, and where does one even watch them? From the ones here, I would give the award to Elia, as it is just a fascinating and relevant 15-minute panic attack that I do not want to relive. But if you don't like panic attacks, then look at the possible winner, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. This is the kind of short that you do need to read about on Wikipedia, either before or after, to get the full context. So it loses some points there. Once you know the context, then it is truly fascinating.
Best International Feature Film.
Well, Who Shouldn't Win is obviously Emilia Perez, which is a movie that just feels so pedestrian, so silly, so lower league. Such a misguided movie, and I do admit it's brave in its ambition, just like it doesn't know what it's talking about. For Who Got Snubbed, I'm putting All We Imagine Is Light, and for this one, we cannot actually blame the Academy for. The Indian Movie Board just simply did not submit it, and this feels so weird, but this is the nature of how this category works. For Who Should Win, while I really hold a lot of love for Flow, I also find it weird that it is in this category. I guess since the category is no longer called Best Foreign Language Film, you can nominate a dialogueless film, but still. Anyway, I'm putting down The Seed of Sacred Fig, which is probably the best thriller of the year, all while having the most visceral political element I've seen in a long time. Using the actual social media footage of the Iranian protests, all while telling an absolutely riveting tale of how paranoia destroys families. I mean, really, it's a 2 hours, 40 minutes that you just want to watch in one sitting. And for the winner, honestly, I'm really unsure about. The fall of Emilia Perez changed a lot. All the scandals surrounding that movie really shook up this category. I think it did lose it, and I'm Still Here will pip it, as it is way too late for anyone to uncover any of Fernanda Torres's racist tweets.
Best Animated Feature Film.
This is an incredibly strong category. I literally have nothing to put for snubs, as all movies here are truly wonderful. As I mentioned before, Flow was one of my favorite movies of the year. I felt like it was the best video game adaptation in history, even if it was not adapted for any video game. Truly a marvel. The crowd favorite, however, is The Wild Robot, and no surprise, it will win it. It's a lot of fun, even if it's not as deep as Flow or Inside Out 2.
Best original score.
For Who Shouldn't Win, it's obviously Emilia Paris again. And no, it's not for Vaginoplastia. It's for the songs from the second half of the movie where I don't really remember a single one. They were either grating or just completely forgettable. Who got snubbed? I mean, come on. Is the Academy just bored of giving Trent Reznor the award? Or is this because they finally Googled Nine Inch Nails and the video for Happiness is Slavery came on? Challenges was like 80% music, so it would just make sense to nominate it. But yet, here we are, like no one knows what truly happened. The award should and will go to The Brutalist. This movie rests on three pillars: the cinematography, Adrian Brody, and the score. And in every moment where the music goes away, the movie loses a little bit of its weight, underlining how important the music is for this movie.
Best original song.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the category I usually care the least about. The songs here are just never good. And the award almost always goes to the most famous or the most buzzy. Here, I truly don't know. I think I heard El Mal from Emilia Perez will win, but with all the scanners around this movie, I am not so sure. I am still putting it down as winner, but don't blame me if it doesn't win. From other songs, I did like the song from Sing Sing, but that's as far as it goes. I liked it. As for the snubs, I mean, I could put the end credits song from Challengers, but then you would have to make a distinction of what is a song and what is a score on that movie. I don't want to go there.
Best sound.
Well, here's a category I have exceptionally strong feelings about this year. It has been a really, really long time that a movie impressed me as much with its soundscape as Longlegs, which just has to be seen on a setup with a good surround system. And yet, it did not get the nomination, continuing with a really long tradition of shafting highbrow horror. On the other hand, it has been a really long time that I have been as embarrassed for sound engineers as I have been listening to Emilia Perez. This is one terribly mixed movie. The whispery, boomy vocals dominate the songs, relegating the music to sounding like it's coming from Walmart bin speakers. But it's Dune that's going to win, of course.
Best visual effects.
I would like to start by mentioning a snub that obviously never stood a chance, and yet I can't help but put it in here. Because best visual effects does not always mean the most visual effects, nor the most expensive visual effects, just the best. And this is why I would have loved to see here Hundreds of Beavers. It might seem like a joke, but this movie's dirt cheap amateur effects simply work for the benefit of the movie. That's because it's pure comedy and the visual effects are the joke itself. It's truly great stuff. But instead, we just get stuff like Alien Romulus and CGI Ian Holm. Not great stuff. As far as who should and will win, this is obviously going to go to Dune Part 2. It's a movie that is impressive on both the digital and practical front, and it's also an improvement on the Oscar-winning first part.
Best cinematography.
I would give the snub to Christmas Eve at Miller's Point, which even the detractors admit had a unique visual style. In fact, the bloomy, soft, overly zoomed style is the defining element of this movie. For Who Shouldn't Win, I'm putting again Emilia Perez. One of the failures of that movie is not achieving a style. It's so split in its kaleidoscope scenery between looking like traffic and looking like Chicago, and it just feels like a failed mashup. Who should and will win is The Brutalist. I mentioned a triangle that holds this movie, and this is just another pillar of it. I truly feel the opening shot of the Statue of Liberty will be the thing people will talk about many years later. I mean, at least I hope so. Hopefully it's not, the other thing from this movie.
Best film editing.
Now, let's start with the worst one. I actually like The Brutalist considerably more than my friends. I thought that even though it was flawed, it was still inspired and ambitious. However, one thing we all agreed on is that the movie has the stupidest,
Stupid,
most pointless
ugly,
epilogue. It completely derails the ending. It feels just tacked on and almost like a different movie. And with 3 hours and 30 minutes runtime, it should have been obviously cut. It was the job of the editor to tell Brady Corbet to just cut it.
But most importantly, ugly.
But he didn't. For Who Should Win, I'm putting Sean Baker for Anora. Sean Baker is actually not that great of an editor, and he does suffer from what most writer, director, editors suffer, which is that he's a bit too in love with his movies. But it's a bit different here. To pull off a 3-act structure where not only the pace, but also the entire genre changes, and it works. And the Oscar will go to Conclave, largely because this award has sort of become the best thriller category. A lot of Oscar voters think editing is about keeping tension, and usually the tensest movie wins. And Conclave, as the only thriller in this category, wins by default.
Best adapted screenplay.
Let's start by immediately putting Emilia Perez in shouldn't category. It's hard to judge a screenplay that was written in French, then translated into Spanish for the movie, and then translated into English for the general audience. One could expect a mess, and that is exactly what we got. For the snub, I did expect The Wild Robot to get nominated. It's kind of surprising it wasn't. It felt expertly written and just the type of animation that usually sneaks in here, but alas, no. I would give the award to Nickel Boys. I don't really know whether it was written in first person, but it feels like it was. It just tells its story so directly and so deftly. And the Oscar will go to Peter Strawn for Conclave. Mystery thrillers do very well here, and any movie in the vein of Usual Suspects has very high chances of winning.
Best original screenplay.
I'm actually putting The Brutalist for Who Shouldn't Win, again for that horrible epilogue. It's the editor's fault for including it, but it's the writer's fault for writing it in the first place. For the snub, I would put The Seed of the Sacred Fig. The way its brilliant thriller plot interweaves with the actual political events as they were happening is just brilliant. It's generally one of the best screenplays written in this decade. If it was up to me, I would give this award to A Real Pain, and while I do have some doubts whether it would be as good if it was delivered by a lesser cast, as it is, the dialogue in this movie just so entertaining, so tight, squeezing everything in just 90 minutes. I will be, however, very happy to see it go to Sean Baker for Anora, probably the first of 3 Oscars for him that night. It's his first plotty movie, his first movie with an act structure, and he seems like he did his homework on Coen Brothers screenplays.
Best actress.
Now, technically, I don't really need to put Carla Sofia Gascon in the shouldn't category, as her chances are completely scuppered. But still, I think she never deserved it in the first place. Beyond just bad singing, it's also a question of selling an inherently silly character as menacing. But she just remains silly, nothing works, and it's hard to believe anything that happens around her character. For the snub, I don't really have any serious contenders, or you could say challengers. But if I had to, I would put Zendaya for it. I would love for Mikey Madison to win.
You like that?
As she's truly spectacular in Anora. I really think she stands a very good chance, as younger actresses have a way higher chance of causing an upset, unlike young actors in the male categories. You can look towards wins for Emma Stone last year over Cate Blanchett, or Jennifer Lawrence winning over Jessica Chastain. However, what complicates the situation is that Demi Moore was really good in The Substance, and as so, she has a truly good performance to back up her case for a comeback Oscar a la Brendan Fraser or Ke Huy Quan. In the end, I am leaning slightly towards Demi winning it.
Best actor.
Now here, I am indulging myself, and I'm putting Josh Hartnett for Trap.
That Cooper!
It is a self-aware comedic role in an intentionally schlocky movie, so it never really stood a chance. But Josh Hartnett truly makes this movie as funny and as ridiculous as it is. And no, I don't really care about the fact that some people say Trap was unintentionally bad. I think at least Josh was in on the joke and really, really carried that movie. I don't think there are any bad performances here, even though I did not and will not watch The Apprentice. Maybe in 30 years. The award is absolutely done and dusted, with Adrian Brody yet again winning for a portrayal of suffering, abused Central European World War II artist. And he clearly knows how to play them. Maybe because he learned something about abuse from his current partner, the ex-wife of Harvey Weinstein. Just maybe.
Best director.
For the snub, I mean, I don't think there are any doubts about it. Let's just get over with. Let's put Denis Villeneuve here. I am also a fan of Luca Guadagnino's work on Challengers, which just proves you do need a pervert in order to make a truly sexy movie. Let's just remember that before he gets cancelled for touching his male assistant in a couple of years. And talking about being cancelled for Who Shouldn't Win, I am putting Jacques Audiard. While I do admire his bravery, Emilia Paris unfortunately did end up as a wrong movie to make. One can tell he did try to make it work. Not enough to actually visit or research anything about Mexico, but you know. For Who Should Win, I'm putting out his countrywoman Coralie Farget. In a way, the substance is everything Emilia Paris isn't. It properly escalates the madness, it is fluidly paced, and most importantly, the substance actually knows what it's talking about. A bonus is that both movies are set in the Americas, but both were filmed in France. But where Emilia Paris does not feel like Mexico, the substance truly feels like LA. And the Oscar will go to Sean Baker, who completely deserves it. Even though it will feel so weird to see him there. But hey, it won't be as weird as seeing the Daniels or Bong Joon-ho up there.
Best picture.
Okay, now for best movie. Let's start with Who Got Snubbed, and I want to just say thank you for watching my video. Thank you for staying this long. And this is probably the moment where you will turn it off. That's because my favorite movie of 2024 is a movie that lost $200 million, has 2.4 on Letterboxd, got nominated for 5 Razzies, and is hated by virtually everyone. And that movie is, of course, Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul. Just kidding. It's Joker Folie à Deux. But you know what? I don't really care. In fact, it being hated makes me want to put it even harder as the best movie of 2024. It was just fantastic. I thought about it nonstop since I watched it. It made me feel like shit, but in a good way. It made me like Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, I really cannot take that man seriously normally, but at this point, I'm really starting to respect him. And no, it's not a musical. In the musical, songs advance the story. Here, they intentionally derail the story, and that's kind of the point. And well, that brings us to Who Shouldn't Win. And to no surprise, is the movie I've been shitting on this entire video. It's Emile. It's Emile. Fuck. It's Emile. Fuck it. It's a second fake out, because it's wicked. Emilia Paris, for all its secondhand embarrassment, at least I enjoyed the first 30 minutes of it. It was kitschy, it was bold, it was nonsense. Kind of the movie that a RuPaul's Drag Race contestant would make. Only from that point, the movie just truly derails itself, slowing to a crawl. But Wicked, I just did not enjoy a single minute of it. I was just so bored. I did not enjoy a single song, a single set piece. Just felt like a movie that was made exclusively for either 6-year-old girls or 36-year-old gay guys. And you could say, well, this movie wasn't made for you. But I will let you in this little secret. Because Anora is my Who Should Win. And this is even though I'm not actually interested in the topics that Sean Baker explores. I don't really care about seeing a movie about a transgender prostitute, about kids of teenage runaways, about Texas trailer trash, or Russians. Ew. But he just really makes good movies. He's a fantastic filmmaker. He could make a movie about 2 Kiwis falling off a shelf in Target, and it would be interesting. And he probably would make that movie. All you have to do is tell him that one of the Kiwis is a sex worker, and the other smokes crack. And Anora will win the award, but mostly because it's just fun. There's a pattern in movies that have won recently. It's just that the movie that wins is the one who's just the most entertaining to watch. It's why Parasite surprised. It's why Caught Up in 1917. Why Everything Every All at Once dominated. Anora is a blast, and it will win the best movie. And now, time for the final word. Last year has been truly amazing for movies. It's a year where cinema proved things are only getting better. So many fantastic films. It all makes me so excited for this year too. Even movies that people hated or ignored, with much better than I thought. The blockbusters were highbrow, the indies were not slow and boring, the horror rocked as it usually does. All has just been great. This makes me very excited for the ceremony. And you know what the cherry on top is? Conan O'Brien is hosting.